Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Of Mice and
Wolves. Ow! So this is the comic book workshop show where we help other indie creators workshop some issues that they might be having in the industry, whether it's Kickstarter or printing or coming up with new ideas for their stretch goals and whatnot. Anything that they might be experiencing, we are going to try and workshop that for them and get them some answers. Without further ado, why don't we start bringing in our guests? Austin,
Hello.
Introduce yourself, sir, and tell us what it is you do.
I'm Austin Light with American Demon Comics. I create Envy, which is a webcomic that you can read at AmericanDemonComics.com. I fully write it, illustrate it, the whole shebang, lettering and all. So, yeah, and I just try and put all those episodes together into print format, and I do a campaign every now and then. Right now, I'm running a tie-in campaign that is a fitness journal, kind of my 15 years of the most basic condensed information that I have for what I've learned in the gym and through experience of working at gyms, through experience of training other people, my own training, YouTube University, everything into the stuff I know that works into a journal for people getting started in the gym. It has illustrations and descriptions, stories. So that's what's going on right now.
Nice.
all right, cool. Now we got this new guy. Hardly done
Brand new.
anything in comics, you know.
This rookie guy. Who's this guy?
First day. I am Travis Gibb. I am publisher of Orange Cone and recently Summit Comics. I do tons of books from Cthulhu Invades Oz, Wonderland, Neverland, all that stuff. Greatest Day Punk. Expired. I have a new book called Reroll, Bubblegum Razor. I have tons of titles. Ringo nominated twice. I get to go to the room, but I never get the award because Batman beats me. Things like that. But that's who I am. How are you guys tonight?
Good. Well, at least it's Batman who's beating you and not Robin.
Right.
That's true. Granted. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to lose to Scott Pilgrim. Like, at least I'm staying at Indy, right? But no, Batman had to beat Scott Pilgrim too.
I feel like shouldn't the Ringos be more of an indie thing? I feel like once it starts getting mainstream, that's just cheating.
Yeah, my mother-in-law, when we came, we told her, hey, we lost to Batman. And she was like, why are you going against Batman? I'm like, we're at the bottom of that pool. Like, we're in the kiddie side. Like,
we'll always get beat by Batman.
We'll always get beat by Batman. We're at, that pool that's near the pool. Like, the real pool's over there. We're just kind of hanging out with the kids. The little splash pads to sprinkle up, that's where we are at. We get to see the pool.
Batman has the lush pool where it's just him sitting in it with his friends, whereas the rest of us are all in the kiddie pool stuck together, shoulder to shoulder.
Right. We don't want to drown, so we don't want to,
No need for an inner tube.
So Batman gets caviar and they toss you guys a packet of M&Ms. Is that how that works? Yeah,
pretty much.
Gotcha. Damn, that's rough. All right, Rob, please explain why we're here. Or,
So we do have one more guest coming, but he has his own show that is currently running. So once he's done, I'm sure he'll jump in if he remembers, which I'm sure he will.
No, he sent me a message.
Yeah. George is good. So essentially, the way this works is we're going to go clockwise. So we'll start with you, Austin. Let us know. I know you sent me two different, either one works, whatever one you want to kind of work through first. Tell us what your issue is. Then we will all go around and ask you clarifying questions to kind of help us figure out what you've tried, what you haven't done, so that we're not giving you stuff that you've already done. And then we will move into from the questions to the answers, and we'll kind of go from there and do that for everybody till the end of the show.
All right.
Without further ado.
So, one of my more pressing issues, I guess you could say, is that I don't feel like I'm gaining and retaining readers. And there was a kind of an email situation. Oh yeah. I have 2 different platforms now. This is like the big loop I'm trying to like deal with right now. Is I have Substack as an email service, and then I have MailerLite as an email service. And I'm sorry, I'm throwing this. This is kind of like an adjacent problem that I didn't mention, but it's one that I do that I just realized I tackle a lot more. But I'm like, I can mix these, like I can have these be the same list. However, I have people that unsubscribe from either list. So if I keep transferring from like, if somebody unsubscribes from MailerLite, but they're still subscribed on Substack, but I get more subscribers on Substack, so I take that list and refresh it into MailerLite, then they get back on my mailing list. And I kind of don't want to do that to people that if they're unsubscribing. But MailerLite has tools that work, such as automated like send outs that, you know, Tyler has mentioned on Comics Launch. And then Substack has a good audience growth portion. So like you get good discoverability, shares, and you can kind of spread easier there. I have like 30 or 40 organic people that have subscribed there, on top of the list that I add from conventions. So that's what I'm trying to kind of tackle with. But I also feel like that can affect my keep gaining and maintaining readers issue to some degree. But I know that it's also a patience game. So.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Travis, do you have any questions for Austin?
Yeah, there's a bunch. So, what kind of posts are they different types of posts with the same information on both the Substack and the MailerLite?
For the MailerLite, I do make more newslettery kind of things where I'll put like my podcast that I'm doing. I try to keep it a little bit more exclusive. And then Substack will get like my comic update. So like so that if an update goes out that people really enjoy, they can share it a lot easier. And it's pretty straightforward, so it's not gonna require any special tools that MailerLite has. So that's kind of the difference. They get my comic updates, like new pages, new scrollable page, that whole thing with Substack, and then MailerLite gets more of like personal updates, convention, highlights, newsletter kind of stuff.
And you're seeing more drops on the MailerLite or the Substack? Where are you seeing more of the drops?
They're about the same. Because, like I said, they share. I've already combined, like I've already made this transfer of my Substack list to the MailerLite list, and so like they all get the stuff. I'm just afraid of if an unsubscriber leaves, they get put back on it because of this flipping the lists back and forth.
Right.
But unsubscribes are about the same.
Okay.
Now, somebody was going to say something?
I was just going to say those are my questions. So you're good.
Gotcha. Now, I was wondering, when you're doing your posts, what type of posts are you post? I mean, obviously, you're saying like some are more personal, some are more business oriented. like, do you see after your posts? That's when you're seeing your drop off, your unsubscribes.
Yeah, typically, but I mean, so far, it's not like dramatic. Like I've only had a couple of unsubscribes, and this is a idea that like popped in my head. Was like, well, if they've unsubscribed and I take this list and put it over here, they're going to get resubscribed eventually. So I think maybe I could, maybe I can like look at them on MailerLite's data and like see who unsubscribed and like put that email down and like manually have to go deal with that. But I would think that there's like a program or something that could help out. But
So you don't know if MailerLite has an export of just subscribes that you could dump into Substack?
well, it's not so much that there's
It's that they unsubscribed already from the Substack, is what you're saying, and that if they get resubscribed.
Yeah, so like I can take either list back to the other. So if like I get 4 more subscribers on MailerLite through a landing page or something, well, I want them to get comic updates. So I want them to be on the Substack. So I'll put them on the Substack. But if I do that, I could, and I do a like, if you just take the whole list and put it over, it will say like, okay, these people are already subscribed on, so we're only going to put the new ones on. So if somebody unsubscribes from Substack and I take the MailerLite but they are subscribed on MailerLite and I put them over on Substack, again, they are resubscribed to Substack and vice versa. And it's just, that would be annoying to somebody, I imagine.
So when people have unsubscribed from Substack, you're not deleting them, right? You're leaving them as unsubscribed in your list.
Mm-hmm. Do they get? I don't even know. Do they get saved as a email?
Usually, that's how most email clients work. So there's, I mean, I don't know enough about the two to say, but I'm knowing from other email clients, there should be a way to export, but we can get into that during the answer section. Jorge, George,
Hey,
my friend,
What's
how you
up?
doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What I miss?
So we are helping Austin with his unsubscribe and subscribing situation with his email list. Basically, his audience attrition versus acclamation, as well as like a confusing situation where he's using 2 different mailers, and then he doesn't want to kind of piss people off by if they unsubscribe for one and not the other, situation.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions or anything else that'll get you caught up to speed?
No, I think you guys are good. I kind of was overhearing what you guys were talking about. I think I'm good.
Okay. JD, you got anything, or are you good?
No, I'm good. I think I shot my question out there now. I'm all right.
George, go ahead and if you have any suggestions or ideas for Austin on how he can improve his mechanisms for email and whatnot.
It's interesting because I think this whole mailing list thing. You guys are really good at compiling and doing all these things. What you're talking about, Austin, sounds exactly like the issues that I have sometimes with these things, as far as like the unsubscribe. Like sometimes I feel like, man, am I sending too many updates? Or am I sending too many emails? Is that driving them to unsubscribe? And so I'm on the same boat. Like at this point, I'm I'm leaning to you guys to see if you guys have anything. I'm sorry, Austin, I can't give you anything more constructive than that. I come late and I come with nothing. I bring nothing to the table. Is what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
You bring the party. It's all right.
Yeah. I bring an empty wall. Is what I bring.
You should be bringing champagne and at least some chips or something.
Something, right? So yes, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Right. Travis, I know you have some experiences with multi-lists and different platforms.
I just didn't know offering nothing was an option, so I'd like to take that as well. I didn't. I was super excited. I've actually learned what I needed to hear, that I can just give nothing.
I did bring something.
I give the George. That's what we name it now. I give the George.
I think, to be honest, you're overthinking it. Most people, what they do is they don't do exactly what you're doing, but they do it a different way. Like Rob more than likely imports this whole list every Kickstarter, even though you're not supposed to, even though he probably asked for the emails. Maybe he properly does it. Most people don't. And they just import it and they unsubscribe or don't. It's just part of the thing. Odds are if someone's annoyed about it, I've learned that they tell you. Right, they'll let you know when they're mad about it, and then to actively omit that person. What I think really what you should look at is strategically using one for the other, making sure what it is. So for me, I have email lists that I use to try to get backers and stuff like that. But on my Substack, I use it very much. I have a system of what I do for posts. So I'll do 2 salesy posts, and then I'll do 1 very intimate post, and then I'll do 1 comics related, strategies and stuff like that. For me, vulnerability works really well, like saying exactly who I am, how I'm feeling, the stuff like that. Really, really does. It helps me get more backers, more people to follow, more people share it out. That works well for me. I've seen people where that doesn't work, but it's again how you do it. You have to have vulnerability and confidence, finding that balance. I think I'm pretty good at that. I don't think that's me being braggadocious. I think I know that balance pretty well, where not everyone does. But when you're talking about list building, and trying to expand that list, Substack should be used for organic growth, because Substack's built for organic growth. Like there's a social aspect to Substack, like it's Facebook, like it's Instagram, like it's Twitter, to line all those things up. So anything you post there should be more organic. So I would actually post less of your actual content, your web content there, because you should be trying to engage that audience more than just showing them art, right? Because people, as you know, in Webtoons, since you said you're a Webtoons guy, they just click. Cool, I read it. I'm going to go to the next Webtoons. I don't care what they do. This is my afternoon. You don't want that. In Substack, you want to make it very engaging, where in a mailer, automation and them knowing they're getting it and expecting it is better. If you look at someone like a John Lee's, I know every Friday I'm going to get a John Lee's email, and I look forward to it. I don't even always read all of them, but I if it doesn't come, I will know it. Or Will Allard, who posts at midnight for whatever strange reason. Apparently he doesn't want people reading them. He posts at midnight.
He wants his open rates to fall.
Your open rates, well, you never, your expectations are always low, right? So doing things like that, and building that strategy, I think is probably the better way to look at it versus moving them back and forth. Just do what you're doing, man. Don't worry about that. That's just part of the game.
Yeah, I kind of think too, doing the manual removal, if you really are concerned about it. I can't imagine that your unsubscribes are so many people each time that you can't just see the very small list of people who unsubscribe and compare them and just kind of bump them out of there. If you're really that worried. But I think there's a system in each email client where you're able to sort and then a way to upload. You should be able to add new but ignore existing. So like I was saying, most clients also, they keep the unsubscribes because they keep the data. They don't want you to delete those. Matter of fact, MailChimp is very adamant about you not deleting them, that they make it a pain in the ass to delete them, even when you really want to get rid of them. Because again, the data is there, and if it's unsubscribed, then usually, again, that's something that you might not have to worry as much about. But again, if you're worried about it, you can do the manual remove. Kind of going towards what Travis was saying, using one versus the other. I think having the main one as more like thinking it as a business and a sales funnel. So when you have a funnel, you kind of start with a larger, colder audience, and they trickle down into the more warmer audience. You could kind of do that. Set up your automations, your welcome series. Once they get to the end of that welcome series, there should be a way for you to export those people who are now like tagged as fully welcome or whatever you want to call them, and put them into Substack. And then, as Travis was saying, make that more of your intimate, more, everything. Then that way they're seeing different things and they're not getting both. You know what I mean? You're basically just kind of filtering them into Substack where you're getting more personal interaction.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds more doable. I can like if I could just focus on MailerLite being like the automations, and like you said, I think that it could categorize people, and like you said, put them in a specific categories that work, and and then put them over on Substack. That would probably just make things a whole lot easier.
Yeah, because you could also have it if you do really need to send them something in your MailerLite as well. Like, you were like, oh, well, this doesn't really work for Substack. This is too salesy or whatever. You still have that tag in MailerLite that you can separate. You segment out basically the audience. So you have your new people who are still in the funnel that you want to exclude from like whatever you want to send to your major audience that are already in the funnel. You know what I mean? So there's ways to do that. So segmentation is a big, powerful thing when used right.
All right. That sounds perfect.
JD, do you have anything?
I mean, without knowing what are the contents of these posts, right? It's a little bit difficult for me to like really give, critical advice or whatever. But I mean, the only thing I can advise is when you are doing, let's say, a Substack, right? Like Travis said, he's doing this, two for one. So he's doing two business posts, one, post where it's more personal, right? So I would suggest, maybe coming up with your own system, maybe two personal, one whatever. But I would always try to entice with, you're an artist, so you put up some new artwork. I don't know how much you're into fan art. I don't know how much you're into anime, or I don't know what you're into, right? But try to find those things and try to build from a deeper audience, right? So if you're a Dan fan, for instance, maybe you do a Dan piece, right? And you just post it up there and you show the fans. Maybe you talk a little bit about it, and maybe you could draw some of those people into your work, right? Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got for you. It's just in the end, we're all independent publishers, right? We know where we stand in this situation. we're pretty much at the mercy of everything else that's above us. So we have to try to pull from those things and hopefully lift ourselves up a little bit with it. So, if you're a fan of it, I would say celebrate it, right? And then celebrate those other things, and then hopefully people will celebrate you and your work as well.
But you also have that extra level where most of us are just writers and maybe the occasional letter, like you are doing the art as well. So you have a lot of content ideas and things that you can do that the rest of us rely on somebody else.
I gotta say, it's very difficult for me to do fan art. I don't know why. But like when I'm making something that's not the comic, I'm like, gosh, I need to be working on the comic right now. I need to not be doing this. But then sometimes it breaks through. I can get it done. But
Well, it doesn't
I try
always
to
have to be like a full final piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
Yeah.
it could be just a
Yeah,
warm-up step to get you going before doing your comic, right?
Mhm.
Or even just talking about something that you really enjoy. That's a little bit more mainstream than what you're doing.
What
You
you
know what I mean?
Why did you get into it? Why are you doing this? Why are you enjoying fitness and comics? I mean, that's like almost unheard of. Like we're a bunch of fat guys here.
Well, first off, the only thing I can recommend, I don't know what JD was saying, but if what he said was Duran Duran, do not do Duran Duran fan. There's not an audience fan Duran Duran.
Unless you're hungry like the wolf.
There you go.
Right. That's a good crossover with Rob if that's what you're going for.
I was just waiting to pull that one out of my pocket.
Set it up for him, Travis. He knocked it out.
Well, it's probably been since 1996 since he was talking about Duran Duran, so he's been waiting a long time.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised how many times I've actually been able to say.
I mean, if it's more than twice in 2 years, you know.
It is.
Mhm.
Well, let me leave my.
You heard what they said?
Fix it.
Austin, I hope that helped. I don't know how much you did.
It does. It helps.
Okay.
I really appreciate the feedback. It's like you said, it's just a balancing act, and some people have a system, and I'm probably still just trying to figure out the system a little bit for me. But I do appreciate the feedback. I will look into all that. And I'm sorry if I'm a little gassed out. I just did like 2 hours of another podcast on my own, so I'm like trying to get my battery back and be here. But and I'm also like, it's bedtime and I have allergies kicking in bad. So, but I will.
Sounds like an indie creator.
Yeah.
Listen, time for a power bar and push-ups. You know. All right, cool. Travis,
What do you want?
what are your issues, sir? What are your issues? I mean, amongst just comic related though.
Travis.
I mean, if you want me to go find one of my drama posts? You want to discuss them live? I mean, I guess we can, Jaden.
Yeah. What issue you bring to the show?
So yeah, I guess we don't have time for that. That's fine. I think Rob's on vacation. I saw him at Animal Kingdom.
I'm slowly posting those pictures. That was from I got back a week ago. I was catching up on life before posting pictures.
Super weird. Like you don't want someone to accidentally find you at Animal Kingdom, so you're posting a week later. Like, what is happening?
I was busy taking pictures and enjoying myself. I will wait till after I get back and caught up on work before I take the time to post them. Thank you.
I'm just saying, I live in Orlando area, and you didn't call. That's fine. It's fine. But so my issue. If you guys don't know, I'm running 2 publishers now, and then I have a few unannounced deals with other publishers. I'm also getting paid to go to cons. I know these sound like horrible problems, right?
You, sir, are horrible.
Right. It's rough. But my biggest problem I'm having is it's kind of weird, like getting people into new work that I'm doing. So like people really love my old work, like getting, I'm launching my second new IP, and it's getting harder because they really just want the next Cthulhu, right? They want the next Granite State Punk. But I unfortunately don't have the time to do that because I have all these other things that I have to do. And I also know that I want more IPs. I want more things coming out. I'm retiring some things and I'm trying to figure out what that balance is. So I'm trying to gear up next year. I'm in this weird predicament. So I'm trying to gear up next year for 2 trades. but both of those trades are being looked at by publishers. So like I want to do big giant tours. I want to really push the trades, like really make it. I think one of the mistakes that we do as Kickstarter creators is we're running so fast to get to the trade. And then the trade is just kind of a relief, right? We're just kind of done with it. We don't give it what we do if we were in the direct market. Direct market, that's when you start selling, right? That's when you try to get it at the bookstores, try to get it on a shelf, try to get it where it needs to go. Us Kickstarter creators we don't really do that. That's just kind of a celebration of the last 5 years of work, right? So I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to balance the excitement of these new IPs with being able to also celebrate past stuff, like getting equal excitement for both, right? So that's my question. I know maybe there's no question there, but how do I keep the engagement on everything? Everything's important, when you're doing so much.
Never sleep.
Been working on that.
Yeah. Okay. So George, do you have any clarification questions for our friend Travis here?
Yeah. So is it your projects? Are they in a combined universe, or are they all completely separate IPs?
100% IPs. So I do a Kickstarter a month with probably a different IP every month.
Different IP. They have nothing in common.
Correct. And that's not counting my work for hire, which I have probably every month as well, at least one or two.
So, Travis, obviously you have your separate IPs. Is there a chance or a way that you can maybe cross promote or even do a cross short with your newer IP and an older IP, right? That will bring in some of those older fans into the new product. You know what I mean? Is there an opportunity that you might be missing, or you might want to try? Have you thought about that sort of thing?
Yeah, I've thought about doing an annual this year, but the annual is really because I'm retiring IPs to keep them relevant. So one of the things that you learn as you're doing comics, the secret to making money in comics is the resell. How do you rebrand? How do you do this, right? Mm-hmm. This is the secret of comics. How do you get it? And you're really good at it, JD. Just last year, the last couple of campaigns, you're just like, this is something I had from 1987 in my back pocket. Here it is, rebranding and doing it. And I know it sounds like I'm making fun, but it's very inspiring. I hope I can get to there. So I want to keep building content for these old IPs, even if I'm not really going to do anything. Like Voodoo Nations is retired, Broke Down is mostly retired, building that stuff. But I didn't think about maybe trying to mix some of the new stuff with that to try to see if we can get a little bit of crossover. But really the goals of those annuals is to keep those relevant and to get back matter for future trades, right? The definitive edition, whatever edition I come up with.
Yeah. This has a little bit of nothing and a little bit of something to do with the question.
Yeah.
Steve,
or is it an answer?
Well, it's a suggestion.
And then
kind of a question.
No, hold your thought then. You're
okay. I'll wait.
You hold your thought, sir.
That's fine. I'll wait.
Well, do you have a question or are you done?
The wolf is always mean to the mice. I gotta point that out.
Well, if it's this mouse, world cracker. So he'll be okay. Austin, do you have any questions for Travis?
I don't know. I feel so far removed from having this issue come to the forefront. I don't know. So you said you go to a Kickstarter every month, just about?
Yeah, just about every month. I will have a Kickstarter probably live 360 days of the year. It may not always be mine, but I will be part of something. But Orange Cone, my publishing company, does about a Kickstarter a month. It's really like 10 or 11, but about a Kickstarter a month. But with Summit coming, which is a new publishing company that I'm part of, I will definitely have one a month next year because of all the extra stuff in that universe. Because there's about 20 creators creating a superhero universe.
So would that equal out to about 2 per month from
2 is
different
very
publishers?
generous, Austin. Let's go closer to 3.
Okay. All separate IP.
Correct. Yeah. You got to keep them separated.
Said the offspring.
And you're wanting to kind of like keep old stuff in rotation, like relevancy.
Yeah, I want to keep old stuff relevant, but I also need really people to push over to the new stuff. I really need like the new stuff to find its audience, find its own audience to grow the other IPs.
So just kind of having a transition. Okay. Yeah, I've been doing this for like around about 4 years and I'm just not in like that kind of world.
You're good.
So
you asked a question. It's if you don't have anything further, that's all good.
yeah. I don't think I have any other.
I kind of have a question.
Yeah, you could just say, you're gonna go with George.
Yeah. Well, he's already thrown out more than George.
Yeah. He had a question. I didn't even have a question.
You should really fix that, Austin. That sounds very complicated.
So I guess is the problem more time? Like you having time to be able to like throw in these things, or is like, I guess I'm still trying to figure out what the actual issue is.
Probably the economy, to be honest. But
that's everybody's problem. I don't know about you.
I don't think, for instance, I used to do, because I don't know if I started it, but I used to do the countdown to my launches, very much like you do. Like that was a thing. I won't go as far as say I created it, but I feel like I did. For Broke Downs, all those, I had the countdowns. I did the stuff. But now, because they're so often, and it's hard to keep celebrating them as much. And I need to do, I feel I need to do, because this is my career now, right? Like I need to do, people put out work. I need to put out work. That's what I do. So how do I get that kind of jump like I used to? And I also want to be a good steward. Like if you hire me for Nightwolf, I'm going to share, promote, I'll do a show. I got to do all that stuff. So for my work for hire stuff, it's really hard. Time is part of it, but it's really like trying to figure out the balance of, I will get more engagement, which is what I also need on an old stuff. If I talk about Granite State Punk, or if I post right now looking for an artist for Cthulhu, you know how many engagements I'm going to get? Like I'm going to do very well. Those are a lot easier to get engagements. And I feel long run that may hurt me, because you need those IPs. I can already tell are kind of phasing out on some of them are phasing out in different levels and different capacities, right?
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions for Travis?
Are most the launches like for floppies, or are they for other formatted?
Depends. So last year, I don't even know what last year was. Let me check. Hold on. Well, let's go this year. It's probably easier. This year was 4 floppies, and then there'll be 5 floppies total and 4 trades. So pretty an even mix.
Okay, that's my question.
No worries.
Travis, do you have a website, and do you do a lot of conventions?
I do have a website. Yep. I have a website that does pretty decent. That's converting. In fact, it's converting very well right now. I just launched a new, because I do also, to add to my complication, I also have website exclusive comics. So we just launched a website exclusive comic today that's doing very well. In fact, we launched two. We launched one for Summit, one for Orange Cone. And then conventions, I don't do as many as I should. Just because it's time consuming. I'm a dad, and obviously all these other projects, but I do about one a month. And like now people are paying me to go to cons. And if you pay me, I'll go anywhere. Like if you want to pay me to go somewhere, I'll go wherever you want me to go. I went to Kentucky earlier this year. They paid me to be there because that's the only way I'd go to Kentucky.
Damn. That's rough.
Hopefully he's not listening. Like he's like
All right. Jorge, do you have, so I guess it's probably safe to move into the answer section. Do you have any answers or any thoughts that might help Travis?
Yeah, I think because you have these older properties that obviously have garnered you a fan base, right? I think that when you're launching the new stuff, I don't know, maybe you've already done this, and I didn't ask this because I wanted to have an actual answer. Maybe saying, from the team that brought you this title comes this title to kind of get them excited for the fact that, oh shit, Travis has something new coming out. Oh right. Fuck, I got to get that from this, that, doing that kind of stuff. When JD was talking about the crossover thing, that's why I asked you about if they were in the same universe, because then you could maybe, do cameos of characters in some of those old, older things or stuff like that. But obviously you've already done a lot of that stuff. They're not going to be in there. But I was thinking just more of that, using your website to promote the fact that this stuff's coming out. The gorilla kind of like printing out these little fucking cards to pass out the fact that they're coming out, right? Things are coming out. Just getting that excitement going, like you were talking about.
Right.
You're talking about the countdown. Doing it in a different way, but still having it, even though it's coming out every month or every 2 months, it doesn't matter. That's still 30 days for you to get people excited to say, oh shit, Travis is coming out with something at the end of the month. You know what I mean? Like, I think you should still, go in hard and use your name and use the older stuff to kind of get people excited about the fact that you have stuff coming out. Like you're not just that old stuff, it's new stuff coming out too. I think that's important to get people excited, because if I'm a fan of somebody who has stuff coming out, I'm going to be looking for their stuff all the time. It doesn't matter, when or what. But so I think you should build off of that, like work off of that stuff. I think that's what I would say.
That's good.
Yeah.
Austin, do you have any thoughts for Travis?
So to kind of play off of George's recommendation is, I would say that you kind of want to display a little bit more excitement for your projects, but I'm also, and then also another note would be that, the older titles have had much more time to garner a fan base and in popularity. So, newer stuff is just gonna be more difficult. I would assume that to get the same ambition, but also something that I had just got done talking with Chris Stahl, the Long Box Punk, on my last podcast was, not everything is for everyone. So like some projects are probably just going to be so different from each other that they won't have the same crowd. They'll be bigger or smaller, hitting niches or hitting interests aligned in different ways that it would just be, they just won't exceed other titles. So that's what I'm gonna put my answer down as.
Fair enough. JD, do you want to jump in before I do?
Yeah. So like I started before, I was so rudely interrupted by Rob again. You know,
I think that I'm.
This
I'm
is the format, sir. You should know this by now. We're 25 episodes in now.
Wow, 25.
you know, only one of us is counting.
Clearly.
Well,
Is it Daphne?
wait.
Look, she knows the format better. We're gonna.
No, but okay. Well, what I was gonna say was, we all know Stephen King, right? And he's basically said that all of his work tie in together, right? So I found that concept interesting, right? It's not the first time I've heard that, right, from an author, right? So I was like, all right, and I was like, I thought to myself, is that how can I do that with Oswald and all the various other things that I'm doing? And one of the things I would say that you might want to try is when you're writing is how can you incorporate other things that you've written into current stuff, and it doesn't have to be overt, right? Because I just drop in certain little things, right? In an Oswald story, something happens to Baba Yaga, right? And I'll have in another story where the other characters, like, they say that Baba Yaga is missing. They don't know why, but that's because that occurred in this Oswald story, right? So then that way, if someone really wanted to dig deep, they can find that other story within there. So, I mean, I think that's one of the more interesting ways of trying to like cross promote the stuff. Don't be overt. Just put in these little Easter eggs, and you can go read that trade paperback, and that's how you'll find out that information. You know what I mean? And since the work's already done, it's sometimes easier to incorporate as lore. So there's a writing exercise for you to have some fun with.
Good.
So,
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
I do enjoy the old breadcrumb.
Yeah.
So I think too that you have the benefit of having a lot of content.
Right.
So like, and this is going straight to like algorithm talk with like Facebook specifically, and the other ones too, because they do the same thing. So especially if you have a creator or like a public kind of like profile, they like when you're posting once a day, posting different things,
Right.
and so you have the ability to rotate your new with your old, and your old stuff, like you said, gives you more attention. Well, that should also help boost your profile up for more eyes to be seen on the new stuff. So, and just also try and like switch up the type of thing. So make it not just a link to the campaign, but here's a photo dump, here's a reel, here's a video, here's what I mean. Like change up the style of the content by also that it should help give you different things to talk about and still be able to do a countdown, still be able to get some excitement for all the different things you have, while also kind of juicing, the algorithm, because you have the content to post more than once a day. I mean, really, you have so much. And I know that's also a time consideration, but still it's like you have the stuff and you can reuse images that you've already done, especially with the existing content, So I think that kind of helped for you to do stuff like that. Just maybe, like I said, not so much the time thing.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's these damn kids. It'd be fine if I
Look, I get it, man. I'm right there with you. I totally understand. They want to go on vacations. They want to eat. I mean,
You guys
cooked food in the food bowl yesterday.
You guys need to get them to get jobs. That's what that is.
Rob's trying to be so messed up. He went on vacation last week. He's just talking about it now.
Yeah.
Look, I wanted to enjoy it. I didn't want to be stuck on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think you have a lot of stuff that you have to basically use to, make it out. It's just, again, finding that time just to put it out there.
Yeah.
And, and you have a you have a wider crew that can help you too. So like, it's not just you doing this, you know, like, you know, if you need, I'm sure your wife will chip in if she needs to, or if like, you know, Jerome or, you know, any of your partners who you're doing the freelance work for, you know, like that's, you know, it still all kind of ties in together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't know if that helped Travis, but we tried.
No, it was definitely helpful. You know, I do tie them mentally sometimes together. I've never actually put it in the books. You know, it's basically two universes. You know, if it's just crime and stuff, it's one. And
Right.
if there's any supernatural element, there is a connection in my head, not like magic will work consistently in all my books, right? It's just the way it is. Same thing with Neil Gaiman. You read any of his stuff. Magic works pretty much the same way, you know. What they can do, more or less, you know. All are Sandman. It's just Sandman over and over again. But yeah, so I trying to mix those things together, and I really didn't want to put as much new stuff in the annual just because I really want to build that audience up. But yeah, you probably make a good point that transition may be easier to do that, you know. Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, cool. All right, we're down to the man himself, George.
Yeah. So my question is a Kickstarter question, and it has to do with the followers of your campaign and converting them to backers. What are some of the strategies you guys maybe have used, or do you have any tips on how to convert some of the followers that are just kind of, you know, watching it until the end? Yeah, but that's my question.
Okay. Does anyone have questions? Travis, you have a question for George?
Yeah. Do you use we're talking about your campaign specifically, or you're being more generic? Okay.
No, yeah, my campaign.
Do you use a pre-launch page, and how long do you keep your pre-launches up?
I had a pre-launch page for this book. Yeah, it was like, I think I did it for like 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it up there for quite a bit, I think.
Okay. Did you do any updates to the pre-launch?
No.
Okay. We'll talk about that when I get to my answer.
Cool. Didn't know you could do that. Yeah.
I think that's a new thing.
Okay.
Brand new, and it's very, very good.
Yeah, sounds very good. Shit, I wish I'd known about this shit. God damn.
I guess the other way, how else are you engaging your audience besides just having a pre-launch up there? How else are you engaging them?
You know, the usual, you know, the social media platforms, whether it's Kickstarter, not Kickstarter, Instagram, Facebook, you know, X. Not really on TikTok, any of those, but yeah, the main stuff, you know, email, you know, the email stuff, conventions. So.
Okay. All right. Austin, do you have any questions?
I don't really. Just for the fact that I have very little like actual experience with it so far. I've had like 2 campaigns, and they're all just, you know, well, I've had 3, and they're about 20% consistently, but like I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't really like ramp it up and get that following up as high as I could. So that's for the next campaign. But I don't have like a whole lot of experience to go off of right now.
Fair. JD, how about you?
Man, I'm here to take notes. No,
I know that's the only reason why you decided to do the show with me. Or at least you could hide that fact.
Why? What the hell? So it's all about transparency. Just be honest. That's all just be honest. I don't know.
We run a clean ship here, folks.
Exactly. I know nothing. I claim to know nothing. There it is. All right. I mean, the only thing. All right. So when you watch from campaign to campaign, right? Do you see have you started seeing the same amount in like, all right, do you see the same names transitioning over from one campaign to another? And are you seeing growth in those numbers?
So 2 campaigns is what I've done.
Right.
And
All right, you might want to work
yes,
on that. But go
yeah.
ahead.
Well, and
Just test
I
me.
guess, well, yeah.
Just
Um, yeah, no. So to answer your questions, so I've only done 2 campaigns. So have I seen the same names on the campaigns? Yes, to a certain extent. Once they pledge, absolutely.
Right.
But the thing with Kickstarter, Travis, that's what that thing that you were talking about was crazy because we don't know who's following us. So I don't know how to, if they are the same people like that I could just reach out and be like, hey, by the way, it's live. What's up?
Right.
So yeah, so I don't, yeah, I think I don't have enough of you've done a bunch of campaigns, 14 campaigns. You can pretty much tell, okay, what's going on here. There's a pattern. With 2, it's kind of hard to, kind of decipher whether there's a pattern or not. It just may be coincidence at this point.
Well, and my other question is, what are you doing to entice these people who are watching you? Like, are you offering stretch goals?
Yeah.
There's digital stretch goals, physical stretch goals,
So on my first campaign, and you knew this, I offered up like a PDF, like a print. I created a print for anybody who would follow the campaign. Let me know you're following it, and I will email you this print. And that let me know who was actually following. If they actually pledged to the campaign to a physical tier, I would sell them a physical copy of the print that I sent them a PDF of. So that worked well as far as like knowing who was before this, incredible thing that you told about, Travis. I knew now who was kind of following me because I knew what emails I had, and then I could reach out to them and entice them to now pledge to the campaign and convert them that way. But for this campaign, I didn't do that because I wanted to see if anything else would work, and I probably should have done that. But I was just testing it out.
It's always good to test things.
Yeah.
Don't always like rest on your.
Rely. Yeah.
Trying to think. Are you aware that there is a you can now see like the referrals too, because you can do the referrals now. You can kind of see where those followers are coming from as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any more questions, or shall we jump on in?
Let's jump.
Austin, do you have? I know you're new and all this, but any ideas or thoughts for George that might be helpful?
Through secondhand, say so. Tyler spoke on the investment follow, like I can't remember exactly what it was called, but and pledge $1 early and you get like a special tier.
Yeah.
If you pledge, to a tier or you get a special discount on tiers if you pledge early, and you can build followers that way. I like that digital PDF idea that you had. I guess you could, if it was me, I'm actually considering making an NSFW print that could potentially do kind of the same PDF that would be just a digital kind of reward for following. I feel like that would be a good incentive, but any print would work, I think. So that was on the right track. But to convert them, the pre-pledge has a high turnout because they already invested in a little bit.
Yeah, Tyler has a podcast about this. I think it was a couple weeks ago. And now that his campaign's over, I think he's probably doing another follow-up to how all that all worked out once he has the data. So if kind of, playing towards what Austin was saying, I would check out the Comics Launch podcast of the last couple of weeks for that kind of information, because he goes into more detail about how to do it and talks about his landing page.
Cool. Yeah, he actually, it's funny, I got an email from him because you know how he sends emails out when he sees a new campaign launches. So you record like a 30 whatever, like you record a little thing that he plays at the end of every show. So I did that, and yeah, it was actually pretty cool because I think I got a couple of pages off of it, so that was awesome.
Yeah, he has a ton of listeners on that podcast, especially comic creators specifically, but like a lot of us, I mean, obviously are comic fans too.
Yeah.
But Travis, do you have any thoughts for George?
Yeah, you ready, George? All right, I'm gonna.
He's like my boom.
Yeah. Here's my plan. I'm gonna give you all this information so Rob and JD have nothing, and I look more intelligent. That's the whole plan.
That's the plan. Got it.
They're mice and wolves. I am F-16. All right. So first, one of the new tactics that's not talked about a lot is you can do updates to your followers prior to launching, which is super interesting. Yeah. So if you do if you have a pre-launch page and you're doing it, especially if you're doing it for several months, you can do a specific update for those followers, and they will get that. They won't get them once you've launched, but prior to you launching, they will, which is super interesting. So you can put codes, you can put the secret pledge as you're building it. You can message them right before, and they'll get that message, which is super interesting. It's a brand new feature. Not a lot of people talk about it. Not a lot of people know about it. In fact, I keep forgetting to use it, and I've known about it for several months. But some random smuck gave me a message, and I was like, "Hey, I mean, look at that."
I bet he was trying to tell you something too, that he can make you a really big, Kickstarter funding number.
Right. Right now, yeah. Travis Gibb 01, that guy. He was very smart. You don't know, people have been using my name to try to help people. Second, unrelated to anything we're about to talk to, George, you need to go to your old campaign and do an update because you have not done that yet. That's the best way to get backers. You will literally get a backer or two from doing that. So you do an update on your old campaign, talking about your new campaign. There's nothing in what we're doing right now, but smart move.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Stealing it from Rob because I know Rob's looking for it. He's already searched it out. The next thing, this is why secret pledges are such a new thing and a great feature for it. Because if you can get them to follow you and you can make sure that they follow you on other platforms or email you or something, you can get them to know what they're backing. Once you've launched and you'll have the different pledges, I don't really count those as much, especially for me. Or someone like me or someone who's done this a few times. A lot of those are people who just want to see what I'm doing. They have no interest in backing me, just watching the way I do things because I've been doing this longer. They want to watch the strategy, which I do as well. So I can't even get mad at it. I will back campaigns because I have no interest in this campaign, but you're doing something right. So I need to know what that is. So I'll pay a little bit to back that and stuff. The other thing you'll get is that's where the spammers follow you too. They automatically spam you because that gives them a little bit of information to try to, if they're following your campaign or engaging your campaign, sometimes that reveals emails. It depends on a whole bunch of variables, but they can get more information about you if they're following the campaign. For instance, when you get messages through the system, if you're not, it has a better delivery rate to not be flagged as spam if they're following you, and spammers know that. So really don't pay attention to that numbers. I know it's super frustrating because I think everybody thinks a lot of newer creators go, if I can just get all 120 to back right now, I'm going to be fine. Most of those had no interest in backing. They were just looking at it. So what you're looking for, a average is 25%, a good is 30%, a great is 35%. Would you agree with that, Rob?
Yeah, I would say a total, not so much because now you can see like the pre-launch conversion, the after launch.
Yeah.
So you want to, typically you're going to get a bigger pre-launch transition.
Correct.
But like total, I would say average is like 30-ish.
Yeah, you want to get 30. I think the average is actually a little lower than that. I think we have pretty good conversion rates because we've gone on comic launch. But when you talk to other creators, no, really, I think
it's between 25 and 30.
25 to 21 to 25. A good one, I think, is 30, and then a great one is 35, right? And you can even look. Have you looked at your advanced analytics, George?
Yeah, I have that.
So in that, it'll tell you how many you're converting from your old campaign.
From the old, yep.
What's your numbers at? Looking at that, do you have a guess of last time you looked?
Yeah, about 28%.
Okay, so that means great. You're getting a great return rate.
Right.
That's very good. As someone who does a lot of campaigns, you're like, I very few of my campaigns have that 20, 22 or 27. So that's great. And your stuff is similar, right? Your old approach and your new stuff. Yeah. Kind of all vibes, kind of all feels the same. So if you can keep that at that percentage, you're doing really, really well. Okay. The other bigger thing is for followers is you really, you had to give them incentive early on. So it's hard to get them after stuff. You have to give them incentive. You need to sign on now because the reward of doing it now is worth. That's why people have these. I'm going to Russell Nolte's. He'll give digital rewards for every week your thing. So if you signed up week 1, you're going to get 4 weeks of reward. Then it's probably about 30 books. He does like crazy. Other people have secret pledges like, hey, if you get this pledge thing, Tyler did this really good campaign where he was giving out like goodie bags based on followers. So you were getting stuff added to your goodie bags, like cards and stuff. Gotcha. And the more of those that converted, the more followers you got, the better that is.
I'm kind of interested to see how he puts that into play because that's got to be a logistics nightmare.
Oh, it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, I got to study it because the results speak for themselves.
For sure.
That's the best think launch. Yeah. That's
I've been watching this pre-launch strategy that he's been doing. I'm just like thinking in the back end, man, that's got to be a nightmare.
Right? It seems very stressful, and I don't know how he does what he does, but he's
Macrokid, I'm sure, plays a big part of that.
Yeah. The other thing is another interesting thing for conversion that not a lot of people talk about when you talk about followers. Do you have an artist, or are you the solo for everything?
No, I hired an artist. Yeah.
Okay. Does that artist do their own Kickstarter? No,
not that I know of.
So this isn't relevant to you, but I'm going to share it for the audience. If you have a creator, a co-creator, or someone who also has an audience, you can have them be a collaborator on your campaign. You don't have to give them the access to anything, but then it'll also go out to their list, which is a great tactic. Yeah. Very, very good. I know a lot of people get concerned about that because you think they can access your money, things like that. Collaborators, you can give them little to their only thing could be collaborating, so they can see what the stuff, and they don't have access to anything. But that helps get that reach a little bit longer. So if you get those as a long tails. When I collaborate for like a book like Hospice, that's one of the tactics of how we get the backers is I'm a collaborator, so they're going to get a little bit more of a funnel of my people, their campaigns and stuff like that. So hopefully there was some stuff there that helped.
Nah, that's awesome, dude. Nah, thank you. I appreciate that. That was good.
Cool. Travis answered all the questions, so what the hell? I'm just here,
Winning.
Mission accomplished.
I helped out Travis. Travis helped out George. Life is complete.
It's a circle of love.
But it also, like, to keep it in mind, like we mentioned this a little bit before, that the pre-launch does have a higher conversion rate, and the after kind of dulls that down, unfortunately. But like, those are mostly the people who are going to spam and
right.
Oh, because like the more you build up yourself, that's the more people who are actually interested beforehand. So you definitely, listen to that podcast from Tyler, and also just like keep pushing that. Like you said, you had it for 3 months. I mean, push that as
Right.
I'm not saying pushing it longer, but like just during the time that you're pushing it, make sure that you're focusing on and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is going to be, if you jump in day one, this is your bonus. Like I usually do a return backer plus an early bird reward. And then like later on, like, for the people who are following later on that haven't like jumped in yet, and I'll do like a full moon bonus reward.
Right.
Not just that, things that are like not just stretch goals and milestones. Like that's a given. That's stuff we all do that, right? But you want to do the non milestone reward, that's just kind of boom. You have no reason to give it to them, but you want to push them to convert in the middle of the campaign because, well, the dead zone sucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to give that little campaign bump.
Yeah.
So just like you said with that reward that you were doing, with the PDF, think of stuff like that, stuff that pertains, that's related to your project that you can do, like that's a holiday, that you have like 1 week to do this or 2 days to do this, make it a little more time limited so that people got, get a little bit of that FOMO. That's really the main ideas that I use to like convert those followers.
Yeah.
And then what's nice too is that you get the 48-hour and 24-hour notice, which I've noticed a lot more people, if they haven't jumped on at the beginning or jumped on any of those like in the middle ideas, you still have that last 48 hours, that some of those conversions are going to get you that last minute bump. So that's always a nice thing that's there. It's weird because like everybody's even said that the dead zone's even more dead, these days. Like it's like you're like, this is what like the graph looks like, you're like the first day and then the rest is like, no, and then last day, so it's like, that's just how it is anymore. So, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I like doing the 30-day campaigns. Well, me, I'm like, I'm going to cut that in half. So just food for thought, as Travis said, the followers don't always mean nothing, but when you're giving incentives for people who are actually, instead of waiting to the end, give them something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and build strategies too, because you can always convert them later too if you have late pledges and stuff like that. We have so many opportunities that we've never had before. I recommend that everyone do late pledges, even if it's just for a day, because if you're marketing everything, you're going to do this final push and you're going to be sending out emails and doing all this stuff, the final push. If they were out at the grocery store, Walmart takes 14 hours, I think. I don't know. I'm still waiting for my dad to come home with the milk. It's been a while.
Wow, he went there.
But when he gets back, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be some good milk. I haven't had whole milk in a long time, about 2% because I'm married. But I think that if you're doing your marketing right, social media doesn't work the way we want it to work, right? We're still seeing people's Halloween posts. That was fine.
Yeah.
Right. We're still seeing what they were doing on Halloween. So having that at least for a week or a couple of days, I think everyone, if you've done your marketing, you're actually pushing, you're not just a stagnant campaign, you'll get one or two backers just by happenstance. Yeah. Because they just didn't see it, because Facebook decided they weren't eligible to see it until 2 days after your campaign.
Never fails.
Yeah. And in closing, the only thing I can add is that you already did a prior campaign and you did something very successfully, which was those prints, right? Yeah. You gathered a lot of data. I would always suggest, you did it once. I would always suggest don't throw it away. You know what I mean? Yeah. Continue, you do it and then just try to add and build on that. So, don't ever think that you did an experiment, it was successful, that now I don't have to do it anymore. it's
Yeah,
successful, you
sure.
keep doing it. You know.
You're like, oh man, that worked. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. That worked too well. Forget that.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do with all this money?
All right. So George, hopefully that helped a little.
Very helpful. Thank you very much, guys. That was really good.
All right. Cool. That's good, man. I mean, we're always trying to help out, and that's what we try to do, right, Rob?
That's what we're here for.
That's
But,
right.
but I
Sometimes-
helped you more than JD and Rob, right? That's
Yes, you did.
That's why we bring you on, Travis. Because you're a
Yes, you did.
I gotta make up for Travis Gibb 01. He's doing it right.
But this always causes.
Give up the info.
It actually kind of proves his point, right? He claims to be a marketing expert. I claim I need to be like I'm really not helping my case.
Yeah. But and it causes pandemonium. There you go. Gym starter pack, pandemonium.
Oh.
So Austin, why don't you walk us through this? What are we looking at?
All right. So this is a beginner, just complete package of information of what I've done over the past 15 years. Like I said at the beginning, it's the most consolidated, like just bare bones information that I would give a beginner going to the gym. And it comes with all that information as well as a 2-week program and exercise illustrated glossary, and just general nutritional stuff. So yeah, and again, I'm much more dark and gritty as a creator, so I wanted this to be more for like beginners, more broadly open. And when I get into making like a highly advanced exercise program, it's going to be much more my style of intense artwork is going to be involved, and just a lot more grittiness in what I make. But for anybody getting into the gym, I want them to be able to carry this around without feeling, I don't know, without like this. If you're just like a regular white girl and you want to learn the basics of working out, I don't want you to feel intimidated by like what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Now, is this like a first volume of many different pieces? Like you're gonna have a volume 2, like maybe like this is, like you said, you're a beginner, and then you have your intermediate level and that sort of thing.
I'm probably just jumping straight into the deep end of what I want to make as an exercise program.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be like I do want to make more of these, and they will be much more like intense. Now there's probably going to be some dips like in the difficulty levels on different ones that I make for different people for different reasons, just because that's just the nature of how people's bodies work. Stretching and yoga turns out not all that easy for me. I've been weightlifting for 15 years, and when I started doing yoga, all that tightness had to be shaken out over the course of these past few months. So that's basically like that's in the gym starter pack. Like I want to explain that like it's different for different people. So not all bodies are created the same, but everybody can work out.
All right, cool. Listen, it's a good looking book. I mean, I'll give you a tiny piece of advice in a direction that you might want to go. You start hitting on the 40 to 55-year crowd, right? Older gentlemen, or into comics. There's a lot of those that need this type of I'm just saying, it's like a built-in group, who should be buying stuff.
That's I had all types of people in mind when I made this program. It's just 2 weeks, and like it's like if you're excessively overweight, if you're excessively weak, if you're just unfamiliar with how your body moves, like I wanted this program to be pretty quintessential, so and accessible for most people, like as many people as possible. Because I want the basics to be like, I do want to make these advanced programs, but I never want like some 110-pound 15-year-old to come up and be like, I want to get this advanced program. I'll be like, as somebody who knows how working out works, I don't want you to get this program. Why don't you start with this, like the beginner thing. So
right. I mean, to me, that sounds like a reroll, right? There you go.
Good segue. But I did want to ask Austin one question. Austin, what categories did you put yourself in?
Like the main category is like publishing, and then the second category was the comics.
I would try to get yourself into other categories to see if there's something that's closer to fitness related to come up in that avenue. Keep it in comics is fine, but then try one of those other categories, and you can switch those around, so when someone's searching, you could switch those weekly and it'll move where you're at. That's not relevant for most people, but you have a huge unique opportunity to be able to put yourself in another category that we couldn't get to, where you may be able to find a fan base there where you may not be able to find it in comics, because they're looking for traditional comics, not a workout guide,
Mm-hmm. True.
Cool. So Travis, what do we got?
I don't know.
You're a book man.
I make too many books, man. I don't even know what they're about anymore.
Dude, I didn't even know you thought today.
I don't even know. What do you think it's about?
What do you think it's about? What do you want it to be about?
So Reroll is about Sega. So Sega is a human in this particular world. He is an addicted, avid gamer. He plays role-playing games constantly, day and night, 7 days a week. He goes from D&D to vampire to werewolf to Shadowrun to cyberpunk to all those wonderful things. And he goes through a past life experiment, and he is so addicted to video games that he believes he's real. These are kind of his life, and they all come to life and mess up his world. However, the caveat to that is he's a power gamer. He's kind of a douche. His warrior will sleep with everybody around him. He'll call people names inappropriately. He'll murder his friends. So now he has to deal with all those repercussions of being an asshole gamer his whole life. And that's what Reroll is about. It's about kind of dealing with your past, kind of a love letter to role-playing games. There's so many people who do role-playing game comics. They just kind of take their Dungeons and Dragons game, make it a comic. I also love role playing. It's I did a big Substack about how I've been role playing my whole life and how I've been telling stories through role playing my whole life. But I really wanted to give a love letter to that. But I also wanted all my books have to have something to say. So I wanted to talk about you growing up. So when you start out as a gamer, you're kind of weird things. Like my first role playing character was named Lucifer, right? Because Lucifer was cool, right? Just things like that are immature, and as you grow, you get better. So I wanted to play with that and see what that looks like in a comic book.
All right, cool. Now, is this a one shot? Is this a limited series? What are we looking at?
It's a limited series. It's going to be 5 issues. Then we got the great Ignacio, who's been doing work for Mad Cave and a whole bunch of other people. He's so good,
Mhm.
very cartoony. It's very fun. It's a fun book. It's a comedy. You'll get my Granite State Punk vibes out of it, where we'll make jokes and have fun, and lots of swearing.
Now, out of curiosity,
I think
it
we're
can't be a
losing-
role-playing game without lots of swearing. But what happened?
You're cutting out, in and out.
Am I being lost?
Well, he's in New York. They're
Am I
they're
still
all yeah, you're here.
Sort of. You're frozen.
Oh, he's frozen.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe he should just let it go.
Am I back?
No.
Am I back?
Your
Nobody
voice
can
is
hear
back.
you. Yeah. Can you move the mouse? Can you scroll the campaign? I just want to see if you
What
can.
just happened?
Can you hear me now?
Are you wearing pants?
Daphne, if you're
Am I
watching,
back?
No.
She can't. She's in Miami.
Oh.
Turn it on and turn it back off again.
unplug it.
Oh, you moved.
There you go. You're back.
Hey.
There you go. I'm back.
There you go.
You're back.
Yeah.
You're back.
I was saying Daphne can't hope. She's in Miami right now.
Yeah, we heard.
So, all right. Sorry about that, Travis. But yeah, no, I mean, it looks really nice. I was gonna ask, is the series finished? And when I say that, I mean, is your part of the series finished? Did you finish writing the whole thing?
No, I'm writing it as I go. So issue 1's done, obviously. So I'll write it as I go. JD, did you not hear me when I talked about how many projects I got going on? Like, no, but it's mapped out. I do a issue by issue breakdown. I do all that stuff, so I know where I'm going.
Okay.
I've sent one to Rob before. Rob knows. I'll tell you what it's going to be. So I have the roadmap out. But yeah,
Laid out.
but I also wanted to leave a little bit of fun too. Of here's something that I do that I don't always recommend. I don't like to write everything out because I really like feedback from the fans. If someone tells me they really like a character, or I'm seeing they really like a character, I'm gonna make that character more popular in the next issue or whatever it should be to kind of play with them.
There's something to be said about that too. Like I had a chance with Nightwolf. I had it all fully scripted for the first 12 issues before I went in and started doing it. But then, like with Snowpaw, I was writing it on the fly, and I kind of like doing that a little bit more because like it evolved as it went, and things that I kind of like came up with on the fly when doing it. So it's nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it works. It depends on the project you're working on, but yeah, definitely, it's definitely a little bit. It can be challenging, but sometimes that's the fun in it. Is that challenge? So, but this looks, really good as always, Travis. Good job. You got 140 backers. You got 10 days left, so I think you're heading in the right direction. Yeah. Very nice. All right, now now we got this guy and his shameless plug, which is George. I got to say the best title, but go ahead. You got it.
The shameless plug. So this is the story of a boy and his imagination. I think we've all dealt with trying to fit in, whether it's new job, new school, new neighborhood, friends, whatever. And so Joaquin is this boy who comes to a new school, comes to a new country, doesn't know the language. He's trying to fit in. To deal with that, he creates his imaginary friend who happens to be the shameless plug. And the message here is just be yourself. It's going to be all right. You know what I mean? It's going to work itself out. And so it's a 140-page graphic novel, but the Kickstarter is for the first 40 pages. So it's the first chapter of the book. And it introduces you to the characters, basically what the story is about, the who the characters are, and kind of like the heart of the story in a sense. And that's the pitch in a nutshell.
Nice.
Cool. mean, listen, I mean, so this is a one shot.
It is. The graphic novel is 140 pages. I mean, the first 40 pages are done. Like the book is here. I printed it out. It's all done. It's 140 pages. I'm like 90 pages into the book already. So the book is done. It's just a matter of the campaign was more for like the printing of the first 40 pages and just to kind of get it out there so that people can kind of get a taste of what is coming next year when the book is complete. So yeah. So the book is done.
Give everybody a taste.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So now beyond the trade paperback, which is obviously, its own story, do you see yourself doing more within this world?
Yeah, I think it would. This is for more like young adults. The story itself, it deals with like issues that I don't think. I mean, it's probably too young for kids to do at 9 years old. Racism and stuff like that. So, but what I do want to do is I do kind of want to do a spin-off, something like what you did, Rob, with like your younger titles, where like it could become a thing of like the Shameless Plug is more of like maybe like a kid's book or something like that, with like lessons for like kids about whether it's bullying or like things like that. So it could turn into that at some point. But the graphic novel here is just it's a standalone story, and it ends in a way where it could lead to other kind of like side kind of stories with the character itself.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, cool. So you got another 45 hours. You got 110 backers. You're well on your way. You're done. You're awesome.
Yeah,
As
cool,
always.
man. Thank you guys. No, and listen, the feedback you guys gave me as far as like how to handle those followers to convert, it's true. A lot of these people are just following it, right? They were never going to pledge, kind of thing. And some of that stuff is spam, and you know what I mean? So it's good to know that, because you're here thinking like, oh my God, what happened to all these other, 45 people that haven't pledged yet? You know what I mean? Yeah, no, it's good stuff.
All right, cool. Real quick, I have my campaign going currently, the Oswald Chronicles, another 12 days. I got 42 backers. This is a story of, this was actually the first series I ever did with the series artist, Jade Gonzalez. It was the first story I did with her in Oswald. It's not the first story in his story, but this is the first one I did with her because, I'm a genius. I start in the middle. So, but this is a story of Oswald fighting against a sorcerer. And the sorcerer is kind of crazy. He ends up stealing a magical artifact that ends up removing the sun from the sky in the Fey world, which will eventually affect the human world. So Oswald's tasked with, trying to solve this problem and bring normalcy back to the two different separate worlds. And like I said, this was the first one I ever did. We did it in color, and this was about 14 years ago. And this is the first time I'm actually collecting it as a trade. So it's about 140 pages. Probably be about 140 pages when it's said and done. Maybe a little bit thicker, maybe about 148 with all the covers and everything in it. But I got another 12 days. So there we go. Sweet. So, gentlemen, we made it to an hour and a half. Thank you so much. You guys are all awesome. Let's start with Austin. Where can we find you and your work, sir?
So you can find me at AmericanDemonComics.com. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Substack, and X. Those are all going to be the same search, American Demon Comics. We're just American Demon. And they all should have like crossing links in the bios if you are having trouble finding any of them. So sub on Substack and you'll get updates right to your inbox of Envy as it comes out. I've got an update coming out this Thursday and next Thursday, which is rare. I get ahead so much that I have 2 consecutive updates. The story's getting intense. So right now would be a great time to jump in.
All right, cool. Mr. Gibb, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Travis Gibb 01 at Gmail. Just message him. He'll help you out. Don't worry when he asks for money. It's going to be fine. No, travisgibb.substack.com. That's where I do the most updates, where I'll tell you what's going on what product is going on, what the drama in the industry is, what you should be buying, all that stuff. Orange Cone Productions, if you want to purchase any of our books. And then I am always on Kickstarter, as we discussed tonight. So right now I'm on reroll, but next month we'll be doing Cthulhu Invades Oz 2, and all then Holiday Spirits Monster Special, all sorts of stuff coming. So find me. I'm easy. I'm posting all the time.
All right, cool. George, where can they find you and your work, sir?
You can find me on my website at getyourmeds.com. That's a play on my last name, Medina. Get Your Meds. Once you get hooked on my meds, my comics. So yeah, find me there. I'm on Instagram, Facebook and X. But all that stuff is on my website, so you can find me there.
Cool. Mr. Multari.
Yeah, you can find me on pretty much any social media platform, whether or not I'm there or not actively is in question. But you can find me mostly on Facebook, X, and Instagram at Lone Wolf Comics or at Rob Multari. I'm on all three of those. More active than the other random little ones that I'm just kind of name sitting. Or you can go to lonewolfcomics.com. To find out more about my titles and other things, get some back issues on the website. You can get a free copy of Nightwolf, a digital copy of Nightwolf 1, if you go to offer.lonewolfcomics.com, sign up for my email list.
All right, cool. And I'm JD Calderon. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those different places, the Oswald Chronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com, and currently on Kickstarter, so go check that out. And, this Sunday night, I have the other show, so we'll be doing that. And please, everyone, go check out the show notes. In those show notes, all these creators are the links to all of these creators. All these creators are doing fantastic work. They're all doing great books. Please click on those links, pick up those books, support these creators, okay? Because in the end, this is diversity. This is diversity of thought, right? That's not something you're going to get from the big two. That's the only thing you're going to find here. Diversity of thought, and you're only going to find that from independent creators, right? So thank you so much, and just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.